Once a year, I try to take a month to just revisit some childhood favorites. You know, just rewatch some of my favorite TV shows when I was little, replay my favorite games. Even now, the gameplay you're seeing is probably Counter-Strike, a game that consumed my every waking second back in middle school and early high school. I know my gameplay here is nothing to write home about, but it's nice revisiting a game that I once held so dearly, even though I'm not as good now. But anyways, yeah, I've also been rewatching my favorite movies, just to go back and remind myself, what media shaped me, tap into old interests. Because I believe the media you consume is what molds you into the person you are. Like, yes, of course, your parents instilling values into you play a part, and school teaches you things, but a lot of my humor, a lot of my personality, my outlook on life, my motivations are inspired by what I watched growing up. Just the other day, I rewatched my favorite movie, not just from childhood, but probably my favorite movie period, and that was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And in that movie, Ferris says, life moves pretty quick. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it. And I always thought that line was timeless. I always hear it and think, yeah, like that's, hell yeah, that's true. But hearing that line now, I paused and just stared at my screen and just sat there like, damn, this is really my life now. Because it's crazy when you sit down and acknowledge the passage of time. Like recently, in my childhood rewatch, I rewatched just old videos on YouTube that I watched when I was in high school, middle school, videos that I remembered loving back then. If you know Nakey Jakey, I binged a lot of his channel, some Niga Higa, and I look at the upload dates and a lot of the videos said that they were uploaded 7 years ago. Old SMP live videos, like I remember where I was and what I was doing when watching these videos when they first got uploaded, and they are time-stamped 7 years ago. It's insane. And I remember my parents telling me when I was 17, just turning 18, to really lock in. Well, they didn't tell me to lock in, that wasn't the funny thing to say back then, but they told me to never be complacent and get a good job, get an education, and save up all I can. And how today I'm 18, but soon I will wake up and at the snap of a finger, I will be their age. I'll be in my 40s. But it feels like, I don't know, like I vividly remember my teens and like high school, the halls, the dumb conversations I was having, the gaming sessions on PS4 with my boys so vividly like it was last month, but it was almost 5 years ago and time never stopped. We're adults now with real adult responsibilities. My friends aren't a phone call away anymore. It almost feels like I need to set appointments to meet with some of these guys. And I appreciate that the people I do have in my life don't take this personally, that we can go weeks to almost a month without speaking, but don't assume it's because we're done with each other. We just respect that we have busy schedules and have no problem picking up right where we left off last time. There's something comforting in that, with all the change that comes in life and growing up, you will still have your friends there in one way or another. Another way that I noticed adulthood creep up on me has been in the past 2 or 3 weeks. I'm in my final semester of uni and I'm feeling it. It feels like every assignment is minimum 15 pages with citations, and that's not even an exaggeration. I got unlucky and I had this workload for all 4 classes and I'm pulling my hair out. Gone are the days before I can pop open a Quizlet the night of an assignment being due and squeeze out a perfect grade before 11:59 p.m. Gone are the days where I can half-ass an assignment and try harder on the next one to make up the grade. There's actual weight to everything I turn in now. There are higher expectations of me and it's a lot. Also now recently, I've gone full steam ahead into wedding planning, and I think this is the biggest indicator for the passage of time in my life. I proposed back in January with the full expectation of getting married next November in 2026 because I felt like that'd be enough time. That's over a whole year, almost 2 years of engagement to save money, prepare, and get everything situated. And fast forward to now, and it's almost about to be a year out until I get married, and that's horrifying. Not that I'm horrified about getting married, but I planned a wedding date far away on purpose to give myself time to not only enjoy the engagement, but to also make sure that my ducks are in a row for when it's time to pay for vendors and plan my living situation for when I do move out. And all of a sudden it feels like in the blink of an eye, like my parents told me, I'm already spending close to thousands of dollars in quick succession for the vendors for the wedding. Now, is this all self-inflicting? Probably. No one forced me to get married, and I'm sure you can easily just tell me to have a small wedding without all the bells and whistles, but that's not what I want, and that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is that this realization that we're not getting any younger and time isn't slowing down to give us a leg up in what we're doing is going to look different for everyone, and it's going to hit at different times for everyone. Some people will realize with enough time and really be on top of it, and some will be unlucky and find out when it's too late and they realize they haven't prepared as much as they should. But one thing that I find beautiful about all this is when it is time to pony up, the ripping of the band-aid, as scary as it is it feels good because it means we're willing to tackle this. It means we're down to show up no matter how stressed we are that time is passing quicker than we're comfortable with. I had my fears of getting married and moving out, not because I don't want to start a family and be tied to commitment, but because change is scary. Leaving my childhood bedroom, my family who I've been with all my life, is terrifying. And I think I will have this fear up until the day I wake up in my room one last time on the day of my wedding. But I'm still doing it because in the passage of that time, I'd like to think I've grown so much that the fear I've had about this change, I've developed different outlooks and different perspectives that ease the doubt in myself in taking this leap. Maybe it's as simple as just having a bit more confidence and trust in myself. It's maybe me seeing positions I didn't think were reasonable back then, but make sense now with the experience I've gathered along the way. All this to say, I feel like a lot of what I'm saying can just apply to everyone. Just change the subtext. Maybe you aren't getting married, but there are other steps you may be taking. So as scary as time passing may be, I'd say don't dwell on it too much, because when the time comes, you'll probably not notice it, and it won't be as scary as you thought leading up to it. That's all I had to say. Thank you for hearing me ramble. This is a thought I've had for a minute now, and I didn't know how exactly to put it into words or how to explain it to anyone in my personal life, so thank you for being listening ears. Please take care of yourself, have a good rest of your day or evening, and be well.